I don't know. I don't have any words. I cannot with the synchronicity sometimes. Hey friends, I just want to say that this is part 2 to my intro into this divine feminine healing. If you have not seen part 1, you're probably going to be a little lost in this video. So I highly recommend going back to watch part 1. If you don't feel like doing that, I thank you for being here anyway. That is it. Hope you enjoy. Let me get into some more woo-woo. In relation to this topic and in relation to tarot, you all know that I purchased a tarot deck a couple months ago, and I have slowly been going through each card in the deck. So I would do like a random shuffle and select 2 or 3 cards to study for that day. And I want to tell you about 2 cards that came up in the past 2 lessons that I had that are very much related to this topic. So the first card is the High Priestess. I'm going to read what I wrote about it, what it represents.
So the High Priestess knows the path forward to the many mysteries in life. Sometimes the greatest power is knowing you do not know anything. It's time to reflect in order to grow. Explore your subconscious via meditation, tarot, and studying. It is not a time for big decisions. It also represents intuition, spirituality, feminine wisdom, higher power. Trust your instincts. When searching for an answer, go within. It's time to listen to your intuition rather than prioritizing your intellect or your conscious mind. It's divine feminine, someone who knows the answers to the deep unknowns.
This was about 5 or 6 days ago. And I specifically wrote, I like the message behind this card. The timing is great because I'm learning about the divine feminine through the YouTuber that I mentioned. So I was like, okay, interesting. Interesting that this came up at this time. Now, 2 days after that, I had another lesson, and this was the card that I pulled randomly. The Empress. I'm going to read about that one.
The Empress is feeling herself. She is connected to the world and others through passion and pure emotions. She is empowered by love and sexuality. Think less, feel more. Embrace self-love and be fulfilled by those around you. It also represents divine femininity, abundance, fertility, creativity, nurturing energy. It can indicate a period of great creativity. It can indicate marriage, connection with beauty and bringing happiness to your life, getting in touch with your sensuality so you can attract circumstances to bring happiness and joy. A reminder to be kind of yourself and take care of yourself, spending time in nature.
I wrote, similar to the High Priestess, the timing of this card is great because I'm starting to learn more about these energies. So what is funny to me is if I would have if I would have pulled these cards a month ago, it would not have meant anything to me. Like I was not in this space of divine feminine or anything like that. I wasn't even on my radar. The fact that they both came out days within each other and both talk about very similar things while I'm in this divine feminine healing journey now, it's kind of like what is meant to be will be, man. Bro. Let me tell you about another synchronicity, also in line with this divine feminine journey. Like I said, this is something very new to me. Maybe the last 2 weeks have been focused on healing these energies. And these were things that I have not talked to anyone about, literally anyone. I've just journaled about it and have been going through my own exploration and things of that nature. So Jalen, the YouTuber, she has a Amazon store where there's a page where she put several books, recommended books that relate to healing this space. A couple days ago, I clicked on it, kind of looked through the books just casually, took a mental note of one book in particular, but didn't have any intention on buying it yet because I like to do a little more research on things before really diving into it. This book stood out to me though. I went to visit family recently and my aunt gifted me this book. Again, I had not talked to anyone about it. I had not even mentioned this book. Nothing about it would have prompted someone to think of me with this book, as far as I'm aware. She gifted me Sacred Woman, and it is a guide to healing the feminine body, mind, and spirit. Again, I have not talked to anyone about this. I had not expressed any interest in any of these topics to anyone. So the fact that she randomly was like, I got this for you, or this is for you. And it to be the book that is tied to the girl that even prompted me to start this journey is wild to me. I don't know. I don't have any words. I I cannot with the synchronicity sometimes. My plans for this book, I looked up a few YouTube videos of ladies who have read the book and did the practices within the book. Seemingly, they have all been really positive. I don't know what the practices are. I would like to think that I would try it out and do it, but also, something that I need to work on that I believe is also related to the root chakra is self-discipline. I don't have much of that sometimes. Hopefully this will be an experience that still captivates me and keeps my attention. And I don't know, maybe I'll share the journey if and when I started related to this book. But I just wanted to say the coincidences, the synchronicities, the universe is speaking to me. It's speaking to me. The last thing that I think I'll talk about, it may be the last one or two things, but going back to tarot and going back to the idea of the divine feminine being more of a feeling rather than logic, which is again, very opposite of how I am used to operating. Last night, I feel like I learned a lesson last night related to this, and to realize that I might have learned a lesson just makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, good job, Candice. Things are happening for you. Even if it's slow or even if it's very minor, you recognize something new within yourself. I like watching general tarot reading videos on YouTube. I think they're interesting for the fun of it, but also kind of inspiring in some ways of changing like my outlook on how I see my life. That's another topic at another time, but now I feel more positive about certain areas in my life just because of these messages. Not saying that I know what they say is going to happen to me specifically, but just hearing more positive things on a more regular basis is really reframing, helping me to reframe how I view life moving forward. So anyway, the way these videos typically work is that the tarot reader will have like these different piles. They may have 4 different piles with 4 different crystals to help the viewer choose one of the piles to select or to hone in on. And the idea is that once you select your pile, you go to that timestamp and listen to the message within that particular pile that you intuitively chose. Hopefully that message resonates with you in some way. Not everything resonates, but in some way, maybe it did. My logic or my process when choosing a pile is usually based off of like, oh, I really like the way the colors on the card look, or I like the crystal that the person used, or I've heard of this crystal before, or whatever. Just something that will make me think, I'm familiar with that, I'll choose that pile. Whomever, I don't remember who I was watching, as she was going through the piles, she said something for one pile and it made me go, aw. It was a very brief moment, but I went, aw, and then she moved on to the next pile describing that. And in my mind, I was like, okay, that next pile, that's the one I'm gonna go with because I like this crystal or whatever. And as I was about to jump to the timestamp of that pile that I was like, I know that's the pile for me, I paused and was like, well, I actually felt something when she talked about this other pile. Like it made me have an outward response, like just felt something. And I was like, maybe that's the pile I actually should be choosing. Lo and behold, the messages within that pile was like, it made me cry. I'm not gonna lie, I teared up. But what I realized in that moment was like, okay, so is this what people mean leaning into feelings as opposed to logic? This was me taking a chance and going in the direction of, I felt something, so let me go with that, as opposed to, I'm thinking this is for me, let me go with that. Hopefully that made sense. But small steps in this divine feminine journey that is helping me be more conscious of how I'm feeling and trusting how I'm feeling, and then actually taking action towards what I'm feeling, even if it is opposite of what I'm thinking. I could go on and on about various things and kind of don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I hope what I shared in this video mirrors the kind of things that I talked about in my first iteration of this video, which y'all will not see. It was just an opportunity to share and be a little bit more vulnerable. I feel like this channel was created from a space of trying to be more vulnerable. And honestly, every topic I'm like, do I really want to talk about this? How much do I want to share? And then I do it and it seems to be well received. So I appreciate you all who still tune in and comment, whether it be on the video or if you message me or spark conversation with me about the topic. I really do appreciate it. It helps me feel like I'm doing something kind of okay. But I hope you all are doing well and are growing and healing if you're on your journey as well, and learning a lot more about yourself. And maybe this topic will encourage you to tap more into your divine femininity if you haven't already. I'm gonna leave it there. Bye, y'all.